Hello again, everyone, and welcome again to a Shortstop with a Shortstop. Today we're going to talk a little bit about divorce and a little bit about remarriage.
And the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall arise, no more sorrows.
But specifically today, I want to be able to talk to those that have never been married. Later on, we'll do another one on this, on marriage, divorce, and remarriage, and for the older people. But for right now, this is for those of you that have never, ever been married. In 1973, there was two men on the New York Yankees baseball team. One's name was Fritz Peterson, and the other's name was Mike Kekich. And their two families were really friendly with each other. They hung out with each other all the time. And the two of them got together and decided to trade wives and trade families. And they held separate press conferences. And one family had two boys and the other family had two girls. But they decided that the kids needed to stay with the mother. But the two players, in actuality, traded wives. But what does the Bible say about divorce? If we look in Matthew 19, verses 3 through 9, it says, "Some Pharisees came to Jesus testing him, asking, 'Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any reason at all?' And he answered and said, 'Have you not read? He who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they no longer are two, but one flesh. But what therefore God has joined together, let no man separate.' They said to him, 'When then did Moses command to give her a certificate of divorce and send her away?' And he said to them, 'Because of your hardness of heart, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it has not been this way. And I say to you,'" now listen to this, "'whosoever divorces his wife, except for fornication, and marries another, commits adultery." And this same verse right here, Matthew 19:9, is repeated in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 32. The only exception that God gives for divorce is fornication. Now, but what I'm trying to tell you, young people, is in your dating process, you need to know your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You need to know the family. You need to be very interested in what's going on the inner parts. Because the best time to get a divorce is before you get married. What is the biggest reason that there is so much divorce here in the United States of America? And from my understanding, over 50% of marriages now end up in divorce. And that's a shame. But why is that? And it's because people are not taught about marriage, divorce, and remarriage as a youngster when they're in the house and moms and dads are reading the Bible to them to explain to them what marriage is. And then if we look again in Romans chapter 7, verses 1 through 4, it says, "Or do you not know, brethren, for I am speaking to those of you who know the law, that the law has justification over a person as long as he lives. For the married woman is bound by law to her husband while he is living. But if her husband dies, he is released from that law concerning the husband. So then, if while her husband is living she is joined to another man, she shall not be called an adulteress. But if her husband dies, she is free from the law, so that she is not an adulteress, though she is joined to another man." There is a third person involved in a marriage, and that's God. He said, whatever God has joined together, let no man separate, or let no man put asunder. God is part of the marriage, and that needs to be taught as a young person so that we can understand what marriage is, and we won't get ourselves into a bad situation later on. In Malachi chapter 2 and verse 16, it says, God hates divorce. He literally hates it. And he doesn't want to put up with it. What he's joined together, he doesn't want to be parted. And that's when a man joins a woman or a woman joins a man in marriage, it's for lifetime. It's not just for a couple of years or till I get mad at you or anything of that nature. But if there are arguments, if there are problems, you need to solve them. And the hardest thing sometimes to do, you need to fall back in love with that person. Peterson and Kekich traded wives. And that's unlawful under God's eyes. And it's not a trade in baseball, but the sports writers made it look like that. And it's actually a detestable type of thing for somebody to go out and do. So read the Bible for yourself. Understand what marriage, divorce is about and what God says about it. Because we don't want to get married and then go out and try to trade somebody. Thank you again for being with a Shortstop with a Shortstop.